Thank you. All right, so agenda, what we're going to cover today. So we're going to go over what Pressbooks is, just for those who are not that familiar with Pressbooks. And then we'll go into the benefits of interactivity. And then I'll touch on what H5P content even is. And then we'll go into our H5P author examples. And that's basically where I'll have Troy and Inigo explain their books. And then we'll move on to the hands-on portion, which will involve how to create and reuse H5P activities. And then I'll discuss Pressbooks results, which is our new grade pass back feature. And then we'll end off with some questions and answers. So first things first, what is Pressbooks? So for those of you who are not familiar with Pressbooks, we are a user-friendly digital publishing platform that's optimized for learning. And there's a lot that you can do with Pressbooks. First being the Enterprise Network. So as OpenEd Manitoba members, you have access to the Enterprise Network. Then we also have the Pressbooks directory, and this is free. And you can share and discover over 6,000 open access books. And then we've got our Pressbooks platform, which is where you can easily create, adapt, and share interactive digital books. And you'll be operating within the platform when we do the hands-on portion. And then we also have our network analytics, which allows you to monitor the network, user, and also book usage. So benefits of interactivity. There are a lot. The first one being improved student engagement. So interactive activities make the learning process more dynamic and fun and promotes active learning. Interactivities often challenge students to think critically and solve problems, which allows them to sharpen their skills. Students are more likely to retain information when they actively engage with content, and interactive activities require students to apply concepts in various ways, which helps with long-term retention. So all in all, it leads to student success. So what is H5P content? So H5P content is open source software built on HTML to build interactive activities like multiple choice, true or false, drag and drop, etc. There's over 50 types. And here I'm going to show you a couple examples. So this is the H5P website. And we have there's about 52 content types. So I'm just going to open my tab here. And I'm going to show you an example of a chart. So this is an example of a pie chart. And then let's wait for it to load. This is an example of a bar chart. If I scroll down here, another example would be like, let's say, drag the words. Open that in a separate tab. And then here's a drag the words question. So what are the color of these berries when they are ripe? So blueberries are blue, strawberries are red, cloudberries are orange. 3 for 3. So that's an example of an H5P activity. So I'm going to head back to the slide deck. So when it comes to H5P content, you can either create your own activities from scratch, or you can reuse activities, and that's from pulling activities from books from the Pressbooks directory. And I'm going to show you how to do both of those when we move to the hands-on portion. But first, I'd like to get to the author examples. So I have Troy and Inigo here today, and they're each going to introduce themselves. They're going to discuss their book, their decision to use H5P, and how it has enhanced their learning experience. So I'll have Troy go first, followed by Inigo, and I can stop sharing my screen for you guys to share yours if you need to.
Great, thank you. I'll just take a moment to share my screen here. All right, thank you for the introduction. My name is Troy Heaps, and I'm an instructor at Red River College Polytech. And I worked on this project called Generative Artificial Intelligence Practical Uses in Education, which was released in April. and it's an OER that's about practical and positive ways to use AI in education, including in your class meetings, ways that students can help to learn using AI, how to teach students to use AI responsibly, and how to develop and transform lesson plans, activities, assessments, rubrics, and more using AI, and how to use it to help you complete admin tasks as well. So I worked on this project through the fall and winter terms last year. Most of the writing and actual content creation was done in the winter term. And at the beginning, I had, after looking at a bunch of other OERs, I had great big plans to include tons of H5Ps. In the end, I ended up including five, two that we imported from another OER that we used, that we adapted two chapters from, and three that I made on my own. I found them really easy to make, really, really easy to update the existing ones, including the content and the formatting. And I'll just take a moment here to show you those five H5Ps. So here's the first one that we imported. It's from another OER from McMaster University, and this one just takes you through a history of AI from 100 years ago until the present. And this was created by Kyle Mackey, an educational consultant in Ontario, who is really good at making H5Ps by the look of it. And it just goes through history of AI. I didn't really do a lot of adapting on this one. I think we just corrected um, a couple little typos and changed a little bit of formatting to match the rest of our content. There's some videos embedded there. And this is the other one that's from a chapter that we imported. And it goes through some of the sort of risks and drawbacks of AI. This is also made by Kyle Mackey and was in the McMaster OER. And we did a lot of changes to this one, to the formatting and to the content as well. And each of these slides here has something embedded like a video or an image. And this one, I believe, even has another H5P embedded inside. It's a hotspot H5P that's embedded inside the main sort of tabs H5P. Moving on to a couple of the ones I made, which are quite a bit more simple than those ones. I used an H5P sort of table here because the Pressbooks table wasn't allowing me to do what I wanted, which was to have in each box, a sort of paragraph block of text with a heading and also some numbered points. So this is, even though it looks just like a table, this is an H5P here. Maybe the simplest one you could make. I also made this one about the most common different AI tools, which I can see already needs some updating, even though it was just released a few months ago. And this is one that you can just sort of click through and read some information, just kind of trying to mix it up and present information in different ways to keep the reader interested. And the third one that I made is this hotspot H5P. And what this is an AI produced rubric. And I used these 6 hotspots to highlight some different parts that I thought were places that instructors, if they had generated this rubric, would want to keep reprompting their AI tool to make changes or make improvements to the rubric. So this hotspot H5P points out 6 different places that I thought were lacking in the AI generated rubric. We had a review process for this OER, and at least 2, maybe 3 of our reviewers were taking a close look at accessibility, and they tried out a number of different screen readers. And that was one area that we had, one area that when they tried about 4 or 5 different screen readers, one spot that wasn't working with every one of them was the H5Ps. There were a couple screen readers that skipped over them. I don't think that's really a problem with Pressbooks or anything, but it's more a problem with those screen readers. And so for anyone who's considering recommending a screen reader in their OER, we found that Read and Write and NVDA were the 2 that were able to successfully read through all of the H5Ps, except for, of course, this one, which would be tough for a screen reader. It is a screenshot, and it's tough for a screen reader to even to share this information, including what's in the hotspots, in a way that would make sense. So I'll just show you quickly what we did as an accessibility alternative. We have a section at the bottom that you can link to using this link to find an accessible alternative. And basically, it has a Pressbooks table instead of that screenshot. And then below the table, there are the 6 different points that were in the hotspots are just kind of summarized at the bottom so that someone with a screen reader would be able to take in that content in an equivalent way. Great. I think that's everything that I wanted to share. I just found out yesterday that I'll have a bit of time to revise the OER this fall for a version 2 release in December. And I think I'll have about 7 hours a week or so over the fall term to work on it. So I'm hoping to make a few more H5Ps, including ones with some questions or whatnot, just to keep the OER interesting. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Troy. So we'll move over to Inigo.
Thank you, Sandra. I'll just share my screen here. Hey. So I just made a little slideshow about my interaction with H5P and Pressbook. Maybe once in a while, I'll just switch out of the PowerPoint to open it up on the website just to see what it's like because I included screenshots. So we're just going to go over a few points, which is just why I chose H5P, some features used in the book, which is academic integrity, which is designed for students, especially new students or international students as well. And then features I found useful and what I have learned so far. So why H5P? Yeah, this was really exciting because back in the Student Union, we were trying to find ways to help students that are always getting in trouble for academic integrity concerns. And we were thinking, oh, why don't we just do something interactive? And I think I got the idea of trying to do an interactive game from University of Manitoba. But when we looked into it and we found out that it might take a while to actually get a game going. So I worked with Kurt Schultz and Stephanie Jury, as well as Campus Manitoba on this project. And we were able to get in touch with my Campus Manitoba, and we got introduced to Pressbooks, which was really cool. And this was my exact thought, of course, when I was trying to build something interactive. I wanted to make a game, but instead I was able to make an interactive book, which hopefully I think is a success so far. So some of the benefits I found while using H5P was it was easy to learn. I found myself doing a brief research and kind of implementing it, as well as bouncing ideas off people that I worked with, which was Kurt, Christy, and as well as a few more people on the project. There are various tools I was able to explore, and also it makes room for an effective work pace. And for the book that was made, which was the Academic Integrity Interactive Book, some of the features that were implemented, of course, out of the many were the interactive books, accordion, image hotspots, a memory game, multiple choice, an interactive video, drag and drop, and drag the words. Initially, one of the things that I was trying to do with this book was just do a virtual 360 tour that just had a click, 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 and do it the way I wanted because, of course, I was still envisioning a game then until I was told that, okay, you can actually play a little bit more with other things in H5P. And that is when I really found, I guess you'd see it in the next place. I really found some of these specific features here interesting, especially the interactive book, because I genuinely felt that it was a very good way to cover lots of things quickly. And now these are some of the features I found useful. First was the interactive book, and I would see if I'm able to actually head out from this. Nope. Okay, that was quick. Sorry, just one sec. So that would be this one. So this is an example of the interactive book that we were able to do. And once you click on it, you're able to go through most of the topics you're willing to cover. And I believe I'll just skip to the last part, which is also something I found interesting in the interactive book. Yes, so it actually gives you a summary of what you've covered so far. If you did various tests and if you just had a few things that you needed to cover, it gives you a score or just shows you basically statistics of what you covered per chapter and in total. Then the next one would be the image hotspots. This was really interesting because one, I feel the image hotspot helps to captivate the mind of the audience a little bit, depending on the picture you use. And of course, you can use it to describe various things. Now, how we use this one for this book was that, one second, there we go. So how we used this for this book was we were able to put a picture and also include a video that lets us describe maybe what we're trying to explain to a student. In this case, we just had a quick video play once the student clicks on the hotspot. So I'm not going to play the whole video, but you can just access the video and it just tells you a little bit of what you're trying to cover. And we also added maybe a little description as well, just to clarify it for some people. And that also helps to cover some accessibility needs as well. And then I have two more
Anuga,
features.
are
Oh, sorry.
you bouncing back and forth between your PowerPoint and the actual book? Because we're just
Oh,
able to see
yeah.
the PowerPoint.
Oh,
We haven't
sorry.
been
I
able
think,
to see your book examples.
sorry. I'll just share that again. Okay. Maybe this will be much better. Yeah, so I was sharing the image hotspots. But before that, I'll probably just go back to the interactive book. Sorry about that. And for the interactive book, like I was saying, you can click on it, you can click through and view various topics that you were willing to cover. Fun thing about it is you can include various H5Ps inside the interactive book, including drag and drop, image hotspots as well, interactive videos. But my favorite part about the interactive book is that you are able to see a summary of what you've been covering so far. And then the next page was the image hotspot. And basically for this, again, we just used it to describe or show a video pretty quick that helps us to talk about the book or what exactly the message is we're trying to pass through the book. And of course, once you click on the hotspot, it just plays the video and that's all it does here. Again, I'm not going to play the full video because of time. Then the next part here was the interactive video. Yeah, I also found this really helpful because it helps to keep the person engaged in the sense that you get to watch a video and you can answer a question. So right here, once you see some of these dots, it just marks either where there's a question or an important message coming up. We can just scroll to this section. Uh, So in this case, it pauses the video and we just get a mini pop-up and the student gets to click on that to answer some of the questions. So I really found that interesting because usually I'm used to watching a video nonstop and later on you're asked maybe what did you understand? But in this case, it gets you to understand, okay, you probably need to listen more closely from the get-go and figure out what the next maybe answer or the answer to the next question is. And lastly was just something I found really cool. It's a memory game. And I think this was just something that helps the students maybe just relax and cool off after the whole interaction or whatever it is they've gone through so far. And a quick example for the memory game here would be it was just flipping cards. So again, a quick recap, we did talk about academic integrity, but what we did was we used the seven grandfather teachings for this. So that made us incorporate the whole honesty, love, and more. But to make it more interesting, we use some of the maybe animals or the objects or symbols, sorry, rather, that talks about some of these teachings, and we just also included that in this interactivity. So for this match the cards game, basically you're just trying to flip and make sure you match it with the right symbol per se. Of course, it might take you a few tries, but basically all you're doing is trying to match it with the right symbol. But this was something I also found really cool so far. And I think that was it. But basically, what I've learned from using H5P so far is that I need to ensure that it meets the accessibility standards. That was something that we needed to make sure was working. And one I can remember was making sure a link opens up in the same window. So that was something that we needed to make sure was working throughout the interactivity. And of course, don't be scared to try out different H5Ps to see how it fits in your book. That I had to learn quick after 2 errors, I believe. So I had to learn making adjustments and, of course, adapting to different H5Ps. Of course, reaching out to those that understand better for advice. Definitely, I had to reach out to Christy and Campus Manitoba, as well as Kurt and other people on campus to help make this a success, and definitely doing additional research, in this case, YouTube videos and the Pressbook user guide. I did find that some of the YouTube videos were like from 9 years ago, so it was still interesting. But yes, it was really a fun time using H5P. But I think that's everything for me. Sorry about not sharing the screen fully there. Thank you.
Thank you, Inigo. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen again. Can everyone see my screen? Yeah? Okay. All right. Let's move on to the hands-on portion. So I'd like everyone to sign into your Pressbooks account. Again, if you hadn't had an account prior to this, you were sent an activation link by email. If you already had an account, you were just added to the book. So when you log in, you should see a test book H5P. So I'll give everyone a few seconds to log in. And if you'd rather just follow along, you can do that too. So I'm going to click into this test book H5P. Now, during this hands-on portion, if you're ever stuck, raise your hand, unmute yourself, let me know. I don't want anyone to feel lost during this portion. So once you get to the test book H5P, what I want you to do is click on Organize Book. Now, in Pressbooks, one user can only edit a chapter at a time. So I'm going to have everyone create their own chapter. Okay. So what you'll need to do is just select Add Chapter. Put a title, make it unique. I would say put your name. Once you have that, I would click Create. Okay. So as you do that, I'm going to go into my own chapter. And again, feel free to stop me if you're lost. So once you've created your chapter, you put your title. I want you to go ahead and put activity 1 and activity 2 in the body. Activity 1 is going to focus on creating an activity from scratch. Activity 2 is going to focus on reusing an activity. Okay. So to create an activity from scratch, I want you to go to H5P content in the bottom left and click on it. So as you can see here, yep, Ori.
Just wanted you to pay attention to the comments. People ask you to get back a bit and also our access.
Okay.
Sorry, I wish I could help, but I don't have
Yeah.
access.
Yeah, so we unfortunately we don't have a support person on the call. If you didn't have, so I'll say this again, if you didn't have an account prior to this, what you needed to do was click on the activation link, because you would have gotten an email to activate it, to activate your account, and then you would have gotten access. If you're having trouble logging in, I'm just going through. Can we get a login link for existing accounts? Let me use mine in a bit. Click on admin. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going through the comments. Just give me 1 second. So it looks like H5P test book was found, and I think, let's see, Ebony in January, you both said that you were not sent an activation link. Is that correct? I'm going to take that as a yes. The silence says a yes. As far as I can tell, yes. Okay. Okay, yeah. So unfortunately, we don't have a support member on the call. So I'll just ask you to continue to follow along with us, and this session will be recorded. So I apologize that you did not receive that activation link. Has everyone found access to the test book?
Yes.
Is everyone within the book? Okay, good. All right. So has everyone created their own chapter that has access?
No, I'm at the beginning of the book.
You're at the beginning of the book. Okay, so let's, we'll go back. So if you click on organize. Oh, here we are. So click on add chapter. Put your title, put your name, and then click create. Are you good? Yeah? Okay, I'll take that as a yes. All right, so let me go back into organize. So what we're going to do now is click on H5P content. And then here you can see this is a list of activities that I've actually already added to the book. What you want to do is click on add new. Okay. And then this is going to generate the content types. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with multiple choice, and we're going to select details. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select use. And that's going to generate this multiple choice activity. And as you can see, there's nothing in it. Okay. So for the title, let's go with H5P quiz. And then for the question, let's put, what can you do with H5P content? So that's the question. The first answer that we're going to put is create interactive activities from scratch. Then the second answer that we're going to put is reuse interactive activities. And then we're going to add an option. And then we'll put all of the above. And then we'll select this as the correct one. Okay. Is anyone lost right now? No? Okay. So at the bottom, you've got your overall feedback. We're not going to play around with this. There's no need to with this type of question. You also have behavioral settings here at the bottom and any text overrides and translations. But again, for this type of question, we don't need to play with it. So that's the H5P question. Now I'm going to go ahead and click Create on the right. And here's the question, okay? And then here we've got a short code on the right. So what I want everyone to do is to take their short code and copy it, and then click on Organize and go back to your chapter. Make sure you go back to your chapter, not anyone else's chapter. Otherwise, it'll mess it up. Go into Edit. And then you're just going to paste your activity, your short code, and then you're going to click Save. Is anybody stuck? Okay, I'll take the silence as no. Now, so Marie, your code is on the right side. So when you created the activity, it generated on the right side. Does that help? If you want me to show it again, I can. Yeah, that helps? Okay, great. Okay. So now what you want to do is click on Preview. I'm going to open this in a separate tab. And here is the question. So what can you do with H5P content? If you were paying attention, it's all of the above. And you would click check. Here we are. So that is how you create an activity from scratch. Any questions on that before we move on to reusing an activity? No? Okay. All right. So you're going to head back into Pressbooks. And what you're going to do is go back and click H5P content. You're going to click Add New. And then this time, you're going to click Upload. Okay? Because when it comes to reusing an activity, you're going to reuse an activity from a book from the Pressbooks directory. So what I want you to do is open up a new tab in Google and just type in Pressbooks directory, and we'll be the first one to pop up. Okay? Once you do that, just click into it. And then you'll scroll down to the bottom. Okay? Is everybody there? I'll take the silence as a yes. So what I want you to do is click on H5P activities. And I want you to set the minimum as 5 and then click enter. So essentially what we're doing here is we're populating books that have a minimum of 5 H5P activities. Okay? So then we're going to scroll and we're going to go pick a book. Let's go with A Christmas Carol. So what we want to do is click on the link here for 5 H5P activities. Okay? So this is a list of all the H5P activities in this book. So what you would simply do when it comes to reusing an activity is you would just click Show Activity and see whether or not you like the activity or not. If you do, you can reuse it. If you don't, you can move to the next activity. Okay? Now, I happen to like the first activity, so that's the activity that I want to use. So I'm going to go click on Reuse here at the bottom, and then I'm going to click Download as H5P file. Now I've downloaded it. Okay? Is anyone having any trouble downloading the H5P file? Okay. So now what you want to do is you want to go back into Pressbooks. And now where it says upload a file, you're going to click on that button. And I'm going to click on the H5P file that I just downloaded. And then I'm going to click open. And then I'm going to click use. So now it's uploading. And here's the question. As you can see, it's populated with all the information. So for the title, you know what? I want to change this. I want to call this Scrooge Activity. Now, you don't have to call it Scrooge Activity. You can call it whatever you want. The questions, Scrooge and Marley, were blank. I'm going to keep that as is. What I want to do is I actually want to change the answers. So for spouses, let's change them to cousins. I'm going to keep the answer as business partners because that's what they were. And then for brothers, you know what? Actually, no, I want to change this one. I want to change them to friends. Okay. So as you can see, I can edit any of this as I see fit. Okay. And again, at the bottom, you've got your overall feedback, behavioral settings, text overrides. But for this, we're not going to change any of that. I'm happy with the changes that I've made. So now I'm going to click create. And here is the question. So same as activity 1, where you would want to grab the short code. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back to organize. I'm going to find my chapter. I'm going to click edit. And then I'm going to paste the short code, and then I'm going to save it again. Okay. And then I am going to click preview, and boom, here is that activity. So again, the answer was business partners. Okay. Any questions on reusing an H5P activity? No? I mean, that's good. That means everyone got it, right? Yeah, if there's no questions. Okay. All right, so now what we're gonna do, that concludes the hands-on portion, by the way. I hope everyone enjoyed that part and understood it. I'm gonna move over back to the PowerPoint. So the next thing that I want to quickly discuss is Pressbooks results, which is our grade passback feature. So Pressbooks results is an assessment tool that allows you to send and view graded activities from your book into your LMS. So with Open Ed Manitoba, your LMS I know is D2L. So there are a lot of benefits when it comes to Pressbooks results. The first one being there's increased student engagement. You'll be able to get a deeper understanding of the learning progress, and you'll also be able to get actionable insights to better support student success. So as of now, we're currently conducting our Pressbooks results pilot with fall instructors, and we've rebuilt Pressbooks results to make it more technical, and we've made usability improvements. So I'm actually going to give you a quick demo of Pressbooks results. I will demo it though in Canva, just because we don't have it available right now in D2L. But the steps to getting your content into your LMS is the exact same across all the different LMSs. So I'm gonna, where is it? All right. So this is, oh, it signed me out. Give me 1 second. What you're seeing right now is our Pressbooks demo network. You don't have access to this. You only have access to Open Ed Manitoba. So what I'm going to do, well, first thing that I want to let you know is that when it comes to press results, it's important that you have the LTI connection enabled. If you don't have your LTI connection enabled, Pressbooks results will not work. Okay. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to go into one of my books. The ball is in your court. I'm going to go into organize book. And then I'm going to scroll and I have an interactive chapter here, the greatest tennis player of all time. So I'm going to scroll, and here are my H5P activities, okay? Now, if I wanted to add more H5P activities, I could simply click on Add H5P here. And this is basically a list of H5P activities that I've already used within this book. So I could literally just scroll and insert them as I wish. And then I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and here we've got our LMS grade reporting. So all of the H5P activities that I have in this chapter are right here, and I've selected them. I can deselect them if I want to. I can also set the grading scheme. So I can set it as a best attempt, last attempt, average, or first attempt. Once I'm happy with that, I would save it out. Once saved, I would pop into my LMS. So for you, it would be D2L. So here I've got my two modules, week 1 and week 2. And to add content to week 1, what I would do is I would click on this cross here, and then I would select external tool. So the step of selecting the external tool, again, is the same as it would be in D2L. And then what I would do is I would select Pressbooks content selector. And then what's going to happen is it's going to populate all my books on the network. So the first thing that I would want to do is select the Pressbooks results viewer. And essentially this is going to allow me to see the breakdown of the grades of my assignment, whether that's in student view or as an instructor. And then I have the ability to add in all the content I'd like. So I'm just going to quickly scroll down. Here's the chapter that I had that's marked as a graded assignment. Because remember, there was that LMS grade reporting that we selected all those activities. And then I can also add in other chapters if I want. And then I would scroll down and click select content. But I'm not actually going to do that because my content is already in here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click view as student. And then what I'm going to do is click on this assignment and I'm going to complete it as a test student. So there is no due date. I haven't set one. The points is set to 10. You can change your point allocation in your LMS. So I'm going to scroll and I'm going to complete this assignment very quickly. The first question is about ski and snowboarding. I know nothing about, so this shall be interesting. I believe it's this. I think this is false. True. Ooh, expert. No. More difficult. Easier. I think it's this one. All right. So I got 6 out of 8 here. Fill in the blank. I know that's Scrooge. Blood pressure question. All right. And I think it's this. Cool. So I just completed this assignment. Now what I can do is I can go to the Pressbooks results viewer, and I can see my breakdown. So here I can see how I did on the ski question, the stop and check, the blood pressure, and the resting pulse. Okay. And I can also see the grade book. So the name of the assignment, when it was submitted, and the score that I got. Then what I'm going to do is leave student view. And I'm back in faculty view. And I'm going to go back to the Pressbooks results viewer. And again, you'll be able to see all of your students' grade breakdown. Obviously, right here, I only have myself as a test student, but let's say I had a class of 30 students, I would see all of their grades here. Okay. So that is Pressbooks results. So Pressbooks results, we're going to have general availability in January, but that's only for buy-in members of Open Ed Manitoba. So for context, everyone here on this call has access to Pressbooks as an Open Ed Manitoba member, but there is a yearly book limit of 10 in place for the entire network. So a buy-in member would pay an additional cost dependent on the tier that they'd like, and they would get their own yearly book limit or unlimited access if they wanted. So as a buy-in member, you'll get access to Pressbooks results when it becomes available. You'll have the ability to publish more books. We also introduced the shared network feature where we designate institutional managers. So basically, you would be able to control assign books and users at your own institution within the shared network. You'd also get access to users and book analytics and also premium support. And that's, again, all within being a buy-in member. So if that's something that interests you or you want to learn more about what I've just showed, feel free to contact me. And this is my contact information here. So that basically rounds out our workshop for today. I hope everyone enjoyed it. And we can move over to questions and answers if anyone has any. We've got about 9 minutes left. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Oh, well, if anyone doesn't have any questions, then we can end it early. So what I'm... Oh, you have a question?
Sorry, I'll just ask one question.
Okay.
The grade pass back, will there be a Moodle integration?
Moodle, that's a good question.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I can get back to you on that, Kurt.
Yeah. That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I would be curious about that as well, Sandra. So when you do have an answer, and I'd like to be in the loop.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. We'll do.
Sandra, you can have it in the follow-up email in a few days.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is I'll actually do a follow-up email today after we finish this. And then next week, we're going to send you the recording, the slide deck. We'll also include the one-pager for buy-ins, and I can also include more information as well. But since general availability is in January, we'll have way more information on Pressbooks results next year. Yeah.
And Sandra, can I just say the buy-in is an institutional buy-in. So it would be your institution would be paying an amount that would then open up more titles for resources. Campus Manitoba has 10, but say University of Manitoba, they have their own instances, so they have more titles. So it's a matter of the institutions buying in.
Thank you. Any other
Sandra, just another question about H5P libraries or like importing content. Are there any other libraries or repositories of exercises that you can recommend beyond the Pressbooks collection?
Ooh, that's a good question. That you'd be able to bring into Pressbooks or just in general?
I guess both, yeah.
Let me get back to you on that. Glenn, I have your email. I'll
Yeah.
send you an email.
Great. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? No? If anything ever comes up, you can always shoot me an email. My contact information's in the slide deck. Okay. Well, if there are no more questions, I will let everyone go. I'll give you guys back 6 minutes. Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
Sandra.
Thank you.
Thank
No
you.
problem.
All right, thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.